All right, and welcome to week 3 of the Real Husband League, and I'm joined by with Bankhead
What's up, fellas?
and Shawnee.
What's up, everybody?
We'll see if we can get Evander in with his broken internet. But this week, we're going to focus on a couple things. Starting off with like our undervalued players, or maybe there's the ones who are not getting recognition they deserve. We'll break down our matchup of the week, our predictions, and we'll break down another possible pretender or contender. So let's start it off with our uh, our players who maybe are flying under the radar. And I did not nominate this guy, but Shawnee, tell me why you think Jonnu Smith on my team is a player who's not getting the recognition he deserves.
So for me, first thing I see, AJ Brown is out, and surprisingly, Corey Davis is actually playing solid. But he's just very efficient. He's like he's almost like Kittle in a way, yards after catch. And he just like I said, he's super efficient. He's scoring a lot of points. He's number 4 in PPR and number 1 in standard leagues. Even though we don't play standard, he's scoring big points in ours just by yards after catch. And I just think with all the tight end injuries and people like Ertz being down, Evan Ingram hasn't broken out yet. We don't see them big gaudy numbers from tight ends right now. He's really just going under the radar, not being talked about. And he was undrafted in some redraft league. Even though this is dynasty, I see that if he was undrafted and he's putting up these type of numbers, he got to be under the radar.
All right, Bankhead, what's your opinion on that?
I mean, and I can understand exactly where he's coming from when he says under the radar for him, because of the fact no one's really checking for Jonnu Smith. You know what I mean? Like, I would say when we talk about trade waiver wires or anything like that, I never hear his name mentioned. I mean, he just never comes up. But for whatever reason, every time you look at the stats or you look at the rankings or whatnot, you keep seeing for whatever reason Jonnu climbing them. I'm not 100% sure if he's going to be a guy that will make or break, you know what I mean, a fantasy championship. But I think he is a guy that if someone, like for instance Egas, who's been looking for a tight end, or if someone like that, can possibly sneak him away for a low price, then I can see him making some noise for one of the serious contender teams. But I think we're still yet to see if Woods' team can become that.
As Bank
And then
stabs me in my heart,
and,
not in the back, just right in front of my
and one
face,
other
telling me
point
I'm not a
about it,
contender.
and
Uh,
one other point about Jono is in our point system, we see that Bank he has Tyler Higbee, and we all think Tyler Higbee went off last week with 3 touchdowns. And even with 3 touchdowns, he only scored
Mhm,
like a point and a half more than Jono Smith.
mhm.
yeah, I mean, the efficient, I think, was actually a really good word as we look at the stats on the
Yeah,
screen.
he's just efficient. Yeah.
Um, 5 targets, 4 catches. His snap percentage went up to 87%. Um, last season he got more of a starting role because Delaney was just hurt again, and then it was
Right.
kind of, it wasn't really his job like he earned it. He was just kind of given it. And this
Yeah.
season he came in the starter, and it seems like he's owning it, and they're
And
passing
it's
the ball
like
a little bit more.
I'm not so worried about his volume going down once AJ Brown gets back, because it's like the way that he's being used, it's still through the flow of the offense. So it's not like they're forcing him the ball either. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I can see his usage rate staying about the same once Brown gets back. I mean, guys like Corey Davis, of course, are going to take a major hit, but I don't think Jonnu takes a hit when AJ Brown gets back either. So
Yeah. Probably also helps that teams are selling out to stop Henry. I mean, that's
yeah, fair enough.
that's the math. Our other player comes on an 0-2 team, so this might be some trade bait down the line, and that is Devontae Parker. Bankhead suggested this person. Why do you think Devontae Parker is not getting the recognition he deserves?
And for me personally, I feel like it's the same thing for Devontae Parker that has been, over his career. You know what I mean? I think he's an underrated NFL player. I think he's an underrated fantasy player. I have him in a few leagues, actually. I was able to get him for pretty cheap prices for the most part, because I think I drafted him only maybe in one. But he's one of those guys that you'll get for maybe around the Tyler Boyd price, but he's going to. I mean, he's going to produce you some top 10 numbers most weeks. I mean, if you look at the fact, like I was mentioning earlier, I mean, he really doesn't have a bad game when healthy. Right now, he's hampered by the hamstring a little bit. But if you notice, the first game he got pulled, and I think he played maybe a quarter and a half, if that. Had 4 catches for 47 yards. And that was with Gilmore on him. Next game, Tre'Davious White, for the most part, was shadowing Preston Williams because, they kind of noticed Devontae's injury or whatnot. But, he goes, 5 catches, 53 and a touchdown with the hamstring injury. Then followed up, like I said, Thursday, he probably would have had a much bigger game if Miami didn't get off to the great start they did and didn't have to throw the ball in the second half. He went another 5 for 69. So I'm just seeing the consistency there from him that it lets me know, once that injury gets healthy, and with the Thursday game, you got the extra couple of days on the following week to play again. So I'm interested to see how he's going to look in their following game. See if he is back healthy, and I can really see some top 5 to 10 numbers for him down the stretch.
Okay. Someone's drinking the juice. God, man. Evander, I see you joined us. What's your opinion on Devontae Parker?
I do's this. Devontae Parker.
And just like that, Evander has left our show.
Boom.
he gave his catchphrase, and then his internet decided that was enough. Shawnee, while Evander recovers, what about you? What's your opinion on Parker here?
For me, the only part I would disagree with is the top 5 to 10 player. But to be honest with you,
wide receiver.
No.
Even top 5, 10 receiver.
Yeah, even at that. But really, like, I see what he's talking about. Like, he's gonna get the targets. Like, only issue I have with him is the hamstring. Like, I see players like him. What they saying is like, oh, he missed so many games early in his career. He's just trying to prove to his team. And sometimes doing that,
and that scares me too. That does scare me.
But other than that, aside from injury, I see it because he's basically the only big, deep threat on the team. The running backs don't scare anyone, so it's still the Dolphins, even though they blew out the Jaguars. 9 times out of 10, they either going to be coming from behind and they're going to have to throw. So as long as he's getting all those targets and we have Fitzpatrick throwing the ball, he's going to throw it up there, let him go get it. So, yeah, he's definitely going to be a locked-in top 20 receiver, like, every week, no matter what, just because off targets alone.
Right.
In top 20, it doesn't sound sexy, but it's
and like I said, hobbled against 2 of the better defenses in the NFL, New England and Buffalo, and he played pretty well. And then, like I said, Thursday he was looking at a monster game if they didn't start blowing the Jags out. I feel like he was just going to go off that game.
Evander, we'll try one more time. What's your opinion on Devontae Parker?
He's underrated, but he's not a top wide receiver. Shit, I have my mic up.
Hey, we heard it. Overrated, not a top wide receiver.
Yeah, that's about it. Great connection with Fitzmagic, though.
So I see him as a poor man's Jarvis Landry. That's my comp for him. He's not. I honestly think when they get in the end zone, it's Gesicki and Preston Williams. I think he'll get his catches. I see him being maybe a wide receiver 2, like 24, 20, and maybe a top end wide receiver 3. Bankhead, I don't know where you're getting that top 5, 10 shit. The Beers, there's your trading partner right there. But
maybe I shouldn't have put too much stock in him before I sent an offer.
God. But I mean, he can be helpful. I don't think he'll be on Beers' team by the end of the season.
No. Devontae Parker will be on a winning championship team this year. Not the Dolphins, but
in fantasy. All right. So next thing we're going to do is break down a contender or pretender. And this week, we decided on what team, Sean?
Well, it's going to be Marin, unfortunately. But, yeah, out of all the 1-1 teams, I see her situation being a little hard.
All right. And so what we're going to do is just go through her team and kind of pick it apart, essentially. And I know for me, I'll just start the Ronald Jones. The dream is slowly dying. That candle is just wilting out. Fournette went off. the coach is saying the right things, but Jones, his value is just going to keep going down. He is a depreciating asset at this point. As long as he's a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. She's starting Corey Davis. Yes, he went off, but I'm just not a believer in Davis. And outside of that, though, I just don't see her having the big guns. You know, how long can Cam Newton keep this up before he gets injured?
Cam is a beast.
She has enough quarterbacks though.
She does have a ton of quarterbacks. I'm not going to question her defense. I think it's great. I think she did a great job there. And I just, once you get, if even one of these starters, who again, I don't think any of these starters are amazing. She is dealing with A.J. Brown, so that does hurt. Well, you know, I think it's a bigger blow to her if a starting lineup person goes down. I mean, it's a bigger blow to anybody, but especially at running back, I think she's in a similar predicament as Ozzie, and so far they're making it work. She's gotten a win. I just don't know if it's going to continue. What about you, Shawnee?
Yeah, for me, the first thing I see is Ronald Jones. As we can see briefly last week, Fournette already blew him out the water, and he barely got 14 touches. It's just, yeah, Ronald Jones just could forget about it. And then I'm not a believer in that you can actually handcuff wide receivers. So even though Corey Davis is off to a hard start, they don't actually pass. They're not like a high volume passing offense. So all the targets he has to be efficient with, and I'm not sure it's nothing that he has done in the past that would make me believe that he can keep this up. And just going down the line, yeah, she has solid players, Keenan Allen, but Michael Gallup, he's taking a backseat to CeeDee Lamb right now. And Keenan Allen, yeah, we seen Herbert last week. He played good, and Keenan Allen still was on the, middle of the pack. Not that he's ever going to be, he's never going to be washed up. He's going to be consistent, but like you said, I don't see no firepower besides Cam and Zeke. Cam, I believe in for the rest of the season. Just that rushing floor is just awesome, and Zeke, can't argue with it. But maybe she can turn Zeke into two assets, but we all know her. She doesn't really like to trade, but she has assets on the bench that she just needs to either move for two pieces, two into one, even though it might take a hit on one. But yeah, if she makes some moves, it's good. But as far as that, I don't see her going in the long term. I don't see her.
I do want to clarify something off what you said. I believe in Cam. I just don't think he'll make it through the season without injury.
Yeah.
That's my thing.
Yeah, I can agree with that one.
All right, Bankhead, what do you think?
Yep, and I'm right on board with you boys. I mean, start off with Cam Newton. I'm a huge believer in Cam this year. I was a little skeptical on him coming into the season. I wanted to see how McDaniels would use him in that offense. I had no idea they was going to use Cam identical to the way he was used in his prime. You know what I mean?
I wasn't a believer in Cam. I'm shocked. I believe it now.
Seeing that they're using him the way they used him in Carolina is surprising. So that to see him run the ball as much as he's doing, coming off the shoulder injuries and stuff like that or whatnot, I mean, it's impressive, and I'm happy to see it. If that Cam does hold up, I mean, Martin's going to be a playoff team or whatnot, but beyond that, I mean, I don't think it's going to matter because the glaring holes we mentioned, Ronald Jones. I mean, we all believe pretty sure that job will be gone by week 8, 9 or whatnot. That should be full Fournette by then.
This week?
Nah, not this week, but and then her biggest strength, that what we looked at for the most part, like the tight end, is now going to become a weakness. I mean, we're talking about Kittle being injured and Kelsey on 30 years old now. You know what I mean? Like at this point from Kelsey, I think we're going to see more of just the explosive game once they're behind or in that comeback mode. But throughout the game, I don't think Kelsey is going to be used as much as he has in the past, with his age. And I feel like he's one of those guys they'll start saving throughout the season or whatnot and not targeting as much. And so I'm kind of worried about that position. This is a team, it's going to win the games it's supposed to win for the most part this year. It's going to lose some of the games, against those guys that are fringe pretenders. But, I mean, like I thought about, earlier in the season, it's still going to be maybe a first-round exit team.
All right, you guys, to see if your mic can survive it. What do you think of Marin's team?
I think she's in a bad spot early on in the season with all her injuries. AJ Brown out, Kittle's out. That's rough. You have Rojo that does not have a position anymore. I mean, after the second half, or going into the second half of that game last week, Fournette came in and took it over. I'm not sure if Rojo even had a touch in the second half.
Rojo was down to 32% snap share last week.
I think that position's already lost to Fournette, and
Wow.
she's hurt.
I didn't realize it was that high. Yeah. That might be another week, and that's it for Rojo.
She's hurting on running back, looking just like Ozzy.
Well, Ozzy technically, I mean, we'll do him eventually. We're waiting for you to lose Ozzy.
And one more thing to add on, her greatest strength that I always give her credit for, that could win her weeks, even with a
IDP.
But I see that she lost Derwin James and Leighton Van Esch. You know, he's recently been hurt
2 big losses
constantly. And now that she has to play guys like Kendall Fuller, even though he's a cornerback, you know, I see her theory on the cornerback. She's putting
Fuller
cornerbacks out there.
Yeah, I didn't
up
bring
big
that.
numbers
He flies
for
all
corner,
over the
though.
field. He's everywhere.
No,
Fuller's a
that's what I'm
tackler.
saying. I see her mindset, the game plan to that. Like, he tackles, he gets targeted, so that gives him tackles. But with that one game that people just avoid him, or that one game the targets don't go to his way, I don't see him like that one little game. The small details, but that's what she.
Well,
needs.
and that's the thing about Fuller though. Like, so he never really has a game where they don't throw at him. You know what I mean? Because he's not that great, so he's never a game where they don't really throw at him. But he's good enough to where he don't get beat a lot deep, so he gets a lot of volume his way still. So Fuller is one of the rare corners that you don't really have an issue playing.
Right.
Yes.
All right.
All right.
So let's go ahead and start at the top. Turn the music up a little bit again. Stop playing. Oh, there it goes. All right. Our first matchup of the week. Me versus Bankhead. I'm going to allow us to vote now because I want at least 4 votes. So Bankhead, who you picking? I probably can guess, but who do you have in our matchup?
Yeah, and I want to talk about this a little bit because before Thursday's matchup, before Gardner Minshew went out there and put up 11 points, I was really worried that this was going to be one of the weeks I may have had a letdown game, or maybe not even a letdown, but because Wood's team coming into the season looked like a team that wasn't going to contend at all or anything like that. And then now after all the injuries and all the young guys that he's got getting so much playing time, like Taylor, you know, I wasn't expecting to get this much. You know, Mack was expected to be their lead guy for the most part this year. Dobbins, Hilaire to get thrust right in there once Williams opted out. You know what I mean? So now all these guys are playing prominent roles. And, you know, he's got Matt Stafford who can, you know, he can easily plug in if Gardner doesn't turn around again or whatnot. Like, this team is so dangerous now. So I was worried. But after what Gardner did Thursday, I'm no longer worried. I'm taking myself, and it should be a landslide.
Oh, landslide. Oh, it's even calling it. All right. What about you, Baker?
Yeah, I'm going Bankhead, and I think it's going to be a bad one this week.
All right, Sean.
Gardner Minshew only putting up 10 points. That hurts. Or 11 points. That hurts.
Yeah, that really sucked watching that.
And I wasn't sure what to expect from Gaskin when I plugged him in there, but I'll take the 14.
All right, Shawnee.
I'm actually gonna go with Wood this week, and I'm not trying to just unless Mahomes does his. You know, Mahomes been. I wouldn't want to call Mahomes average, not in real life, but in fantasy he didn't have one of the blow up games. But look at it. Eckler playing against the Carolinas. Maybe he gets back on track. Derrick Henry hasn't even scored a touchdown yet. He's been have 42 carries with no touchdown. Jonathan Taylor, like you said, I think he's going to run through the Jets. No Shepard, no Saquon. It's just, Richard Sherman out. Like, they have no pass rush. So I think Slayton could go off. We already know Terry McLaurin, he's going to get all the targets. He could go off in a given week. And we just talked about it. Jonnu Smith. Hey, what if you have another big blow up? And then you look at that game, Baltimore and Kansas City. If that's a shootout, I like having guys like Clyde and J.K. Dobbins. They might have to play a big role. So I think this will be a little closer than it should be with Gardner only giving 11 points, but I think Wood could sneak out a win.
So I thought I was going to be alone, but thanks, Shani. I appreciate it. I'm going with myself here. Gotta believe in myself. And he stole some of my bullet points. I do like my matchups this week. I have Eckler going against Carolina. I have Taylor starting against the Jets. So I'm not going to rehash all those. But I'll say this: I'm looking at your team. Chubb is already in a split for time, and he's going against Washington, one of the best defenses right now. Devontae Adams is doubtful.
Out.
He's not out yet. Oh wait,
He's out.
He's not going to play.
Okay, but
he's not going to play.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to play.
So I mean, there's the number one wide receiver done. So, and I'm not saying you don't have any depth, but losing number one receiver always hurts. I just think that gives me a window to try and get into it. And I do not think either way. I say our game is 10 points. I know it doesn't show that in the percentages right now. I say the winner wins by like 10, 15 points. I think this is also one of the very few teams I can claim that I have a better IDP than. If you look at how we match up, mine's pretty solid. So, 2-2.
And before we get to you guys, I want to jump in there real quick, man, because Shani mentioned. Oh, okay. Shani mentioned that about Mahomes having not so Mahomes start. I mean, but if you think about week 1, he only had 26 points. I mean, they were in a rout, but he had 3 touchdowns in that game.
And was cooking.
And then the second game, I mean, he dropped 47 fantasy points. So, I mean, you may think he's not Mahomes, but
no, I said this week can be a shootout though. I did.
Right. Well, I'm saying he even the last 2 weeks he's been Mahomes, and maybe just the opportunity. Like I said, week 1 because they start routing the Texans. He had 3 touchdowns in that game, and then week 2 he had 47 points. So I don't.
26.
I think he's. Yeah, that was average for him, but like I said, that was only because of game script. You know what I mean? It wasn't because of anything of him. I mean, he balled out.
One thing that can make this game is Devonta Adams.
Yeah, that's why.
For sure.
I think that's the one thing that kind of gives me my window.
And AJ Green is going against Darius Slay. He been locking everybody up. That's just a little.
And now I have been on the fence too. I'm thinking about plugging in Singletary over Chubb with Moss out. So I'm liking Singletary's volume without Moss.
Kiss your week goodbye.
All right. So on to our next matchup, we have Shawnee 0-2 against Alex, or otherwise known as the Jared Curse team. So let's start off with the Bander. I kind of know where you're going. Actually, I don't know where you're going to go with this one since it's Shawnee's team is kind of in rebuild mode. Who are you leaning in this matchup?
Come on now.
Oh,
don't do it.
I want to say Shawnee, to be honest, but I don't even know. This is going to be a close matchup. This is going to be a close matchup. This matchup is. That's all I can say is it's going to be close. I don't even know who to pick. Toss up. Can I say tie?
No,
it's going to be a tie.
We'll come back. I'll give you time, but you got to make a pick. You got to make a pick for our standings. All right. What about you, Bankhead? Who you leaning here?
This is so crazy. I'm looking at these matchups. Shotty has a shot at this. I mean, we're talking the quarterback position. Herbert can definitely outscore Wentz. Evans can definitely outscore Sony, who's done nothing this year. DJ Moore, that's going to be tough outscore, really. But Hollywood and Boyd, I can see that. Ingram Henry, I could definitely see that with no Shepard. I'm going Shawnee. The curse is alive. Shawnee steals the win.
I'll go next since I'm not in this game.
We might get some Randall Cobb volume. Oh, yeah, I'm going Shawnee.
I just cannot go against Calvin Ridley and what he's been doing this season. Chicago, I think, is trash. I think Calvin Ridley goes off again. I think
Julio banged up.
I think that Davis and Sony can get a touchdown. I'm not saying they're going to have big days, but they can score a touchdown and put up, at least 10 to 15 points. You already see Chris Thompson on Shawnee's team only put up 8. I think
Davis might not get 8.
He might not, but he might get that.
Sony be the one that might get
it. IDP pretty even, I think, across the board. Maybe a little bit of defensive line. I would go Alex. I think Alex just barely squeaks out a win, so I'm leaning Alex on this one. All right, Shawnee. Who you going with?
I don't know why every week we here. I think y'all guys like me, so y'all it's like I don't know. I might win. It's gonna be a walking bye week. I'm gonna lose by another 100 points, and let everybody know this is just a rebuild team. So I expected this. I don't expect to win. I don't expect it to be close. And if it is close, Alex, sell your whole team.
Yeah.
All right, and Egas, gotta make a pick. Who you leaning?
I'm going Shawnee. That's
Oh my
what I
goodness.
didn't want to say, but I'm doing it.
We are 2 and 2
sorry,
are
Alex.
split again. Which remind me before we get off here, we gotta recap last week how we did. I forgot.
Yeah.
All right, next one. Tico versus Simply. This is the bye week game.
Yeah.
I'll start off. Tico, for all the crap I give you, you are gonna smash Simply this week. He's starting people like Claypool. He is rebuilding. Crowder's out, so I'm sure he'll fix that in the lineup before the game starts. But that means he has to go further into a bench that's already kind of depleted.
What bench?
Exactly.
Tim Patrick shouldn't be a terrible start this week.
Tico, while not having a ton of a bench, he's avoided the injury bug for the most part so far. And yeah, I think Tico's team puts up enough points and just has an easy win, 50, 60 points. They win the game. Let's go up this time. Shawnee, who you got?
Yeah, Tico, and I don't have to elaborate. Yeah, I'm just gonna say Tico. I don't even want to give it no. I can't even give Simply Team no justice.
All right, Vander.
Tico.
All right, Bank.
I won't be so quick because I think this has a chance.
Stop lying.
Because this has a chance to happen. Deshaun Watson versus that Pittsburgh defense could very well struggle. If we can see him and David Johnson come out there and struggle, this could be a game. If Matt Ryan has another one of those Matt Ryan games that he's kind of had, I mean, McKenna's going to get so much volume in that game. But he needs these other guys to have explosive games again, like Swift and Claypool, who doesn't get enough volume. He needs them to get that big play like they had, or like Claypool had this past week. But if the Texans struggle in that Pittsburgh game, which I can see happening, this could be anybody's game. I'll go Tico.
All right, Tico 4-0. I had already written it down before you finished. But I just, whatever. All right, we spent extra time there. All right, our next matchup looks to be another one that might be a little lopsided. We've got the Beers versus Egas. Bankhead, who do you have in this matchup?
Yeah, and this is one I don't think it's going to be close. I think this is going to be just a smash. I think we're looking at Egas in one of the biggest blocks of the week.
Johnny?
I'm definitely gonna give it to Egas. Yeah, I'm just gonna give it to Egas. I think he has way too much firepower at the top, and
that Detroit defense is bad.
My guy Bears, he has, just like always, a solid team with solid plays, but solid is not gonna beat guys like Kyler, Kamara, Jacobs, Hopkins. Yeah, I just don't think he has enough to overcome that.
What Kyler and Hopkins going to do to that Lions defense is going to be criminal.
Yeah. And Miles Sanders, he got like a lot of work. He was finally got the bell cow role, and I think once again playing Cincinnati, he's gonna get it again. Yeah, just those three players alone can outscore his lineup.
Odell not facing an elite corner this week. We could see another huge Odell week.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to put up the time. I don't need to. It's going to be Evander. I almost upset Evander last week after my team went off a little bit, but Evander's going to get to keep the winning streak alive, be 2-1, and he will be in second place, I believe, after this week. No, he still needs to catch up with the win-loss column, but he will still be second in points behind you, Bank. That's my belief. You guys? Who are you taking? I kind of assume, but let's hear it.
I'm trying to put up 300 this week. The stars have aligned for a 300 game.
Oh.
Sorry to Beers.
It takes a lot of hard work and dedication to get 300.
All right.
Especially this year.
I've just missed it twice, 297, 299.
Our next game, I foolishly picked Walters last week. But we have Ozzy versus Walters. Let's just go ahead and get this out of the way. Bank, who you got in this game?
Yeah, let's go, Ozzy.
Ozzy, you guys?
Jordan Howard was in his lineup?
Ozzy.
Hey, he got a touchdown at least. Just saying. You know what?
I mean,
hey,
Gurley might do the same thing.
Jerome Bettis
Yeah.
had 5 carries for 4 touchdowns that 1 week. Just remember that game. Shani, who you got in this?
Definitely got Ozzy.
I'll
Yeah, I
go
can see some weird things happening in this game, but I'm definitely got Ozzy.
I just don't think it's possible. So Ozzy wins, and I think it's gonna be an easy game. And that brings us to our matchup of the week. So this is gonna be a new segment where we kind of break down each team's unit and say who's gonna win, and then from there, whichever side has the most units that win, that's gonna be our team that we pick. So just keep that in your heads, guys.
Yeah.
All right, so starting off, we have Dak Prescott versus Cam Newton. I'll just say it, as much as I love Cam Newton, you know what, screw it. I'm going Cam Newton just because he is the Patriots offense at this point. Against that Seattle defense, I just don't trust the Cowboys to be, consistent with putting up a ton of points. So I think Cam barely outscores Dak. What about you, Sean?
I'm actually going to give Prescott because I think Russell Wilson is on the MVP race, and that means he's going to put up a lot of points, and the only way to match it is by putting up a big game. And I think that's one of the highest point totals of the week, that game, Dallas versus Seattle. So I'm going to go with that.
All right, Vander.
Cam. As much as I love the Raiders as a team, their defense is not there yet. Cam Newton.
All right, and Bank.
And I'm a little torn on that too, because this is kind of opposite of what we're used to. Dak, even though we're used to Dallas being that running team, they kind of changed that identity a little bit. And Seattle, for as much as their defense has improved, they're actually one of the worst teams against the pass in the NFL so far through 2 weeks. And I think that's something that Dallas will actually need to exploit because of the fact Russell ain't slowing down. And Seattle's going to put up 30-plus points. Dallas is going to need to play catch-up. I actually think Prescott goes off this week.
All right, so I hear tie. That's what I'm hearing, tie right now. All right, we're going to go running back now. So we're going to go starting running backs, and it works. Well, he does have Kenyon Drake down there. So I'm going to imagine Kenyon Drake and Robinson, and I'm going to move Carson down to the flex. Is that good with y'all? So take the top running back?
Yeah, that's fine.
Cool.
Okay. So if I'm doing that, Robinson's had an amazing week. 35 points. I gotta go Rhodes here. She's got Zeke, but we've all said so far Jones is just not going to get any volume or work hardly. So what about you? Let's go with Bank.
Yeah, and I'm looking at her. I was thinking maybe she'd probably even want to throw in Frank Gore for this week because of the volume. I know he did absolutely nothing with his volume last week, but I think he's going to get a lot more than Ronald Jones this week, and maybe he can get a touchdown. I don't think Ronald Jones does anything. After hearing that usage in the second half, I didn't know it was that bad, but yeah, it should be an easy pick there with Rhodes on the running back.
All right, you guys?
Yeah, definitely Rhodes. I think Chris Carson is he's the low-key fantasy player of the year. I think that was a great trade that he made to get him, and Marin has no running backs except Zeke.
He's the Devontae Parker of running backs.
Oh my gosh. Shawnee?
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna go with Rhodes on this side. I actually think this is Drake's big week to break out. You see what happened last week? Who was Detroit playing last week?
Green Bay.
Yeah, and Aaron Jones even though Aaron Jones is good, he demolished him with all his touches. I think this is the game where Drake just breaks out. And like you said, Chris Carson, he's just steady. Can't beat him.
All right, and then wide receiver, we have Cooper Kupp and Juju Smith versus Corey Davis and Stephon Diggs. Corey Davis had a decent week last week. I've gone first already. Let's hear from Evander. What do you got here?
Ooh, this is a tough one. I hate Corey Davis, but she has Stephon Diggs and Keenan Allen with Justin Herbert starting. I think Keenan Allen has a great week. And then on the other side, you got Cooper Kupp, Juju. Ooh,
You're jumping ahead of me and going into flex. Just focus on the 2 receivers, like in the main spot.
got you. Yeah, 2 receivers in the main spot. I'm going with Rhodes.
All right. What about you, Bang?
Actually, in those 2 spots, I'm gonna go with Martin. If AJ Brown, he's out again, right? AJ Brown, he's out this week as well.
Out.
Yeah, so I mean, I think we can probably get another big Corey Davis. The Minnesota secondary isn't that good, and Diggs is on fire right now. But if they shadow him with Ramsey, I mean, he's gonna be out of there. But I don't know. And then, I mean, Juju's banged up. Cooper Kupp hasn't been Cooper Kupp-ish yet. So, I'm going to go with Martin.
What about you, Sean?
I want to say Martin, but I'm going to go slightly Rhodes just off the simple fact I think Robert Woods actually gets shadowed by Tre'Davious White. He pretty much locks whoever up. And I think, like Bank said, Stephon Diggs, I'm not sure if he gets Ramsey or John Brown gets Ramsey. So I'm just going to edge it out with Rhodes. And I think Juju just gets more targets than Corey Davis, period, even though I'm not a Juju fan.
Look,
yeah, that Minnesota defense is just so bad in the secondary.
I was with you guys, and then Bankhead talked me into Marion, so it's a tie. I was going to say no, but A.J. Brown is hurt. Stephon Diggs, maybe it really was just Kirk Cousins being a crappy quarterback, and that's why he couldn't do what he could do. He did get the ball
Yes.
And Allen is much more of a gunslinger. He is just throwing that ball up.
Yeah, this isn't a fluke what we're seeing from Buffalo's passing game.
And, I can see them edging out those receivers just barely. So it's a tie overall so far. Tight end. I think it's easy for me. I'll just do this. Kelsey. It's him and Kittle when he's healthy. Those are the 2 best tight ends. So, Kelsey. What about you, Shani?
It's not easy for me, but I'm going to go Kelsey because I think Baltimore usually locks up receivers. I'm not saying that Tyreek Hill is going to get absolutely locked down, but he could play decoy for most of the game, and I think that funnels all the targets to Kelsey. But I see that Jalen Ringer is out. Philly has no receivers, so all the targets are going to Goddard and Ertz, so it could be close, but I just, like you said, I'll give it to Kelsey, as long as he's healthy.
Amanda?
Let's
We'll come back, Amanda. What about you?
Okay. And I'm kind of just hitting on both the points Shawnee made. Kelsey, especially this week, he's going to be a target monster. I mean, you just don't throw the ball outside of the hashes on Baltimore. Marlon Humphreys and those guys. I mean, you just don't do it. They shut down everybody. Kelsey's going to get targeted heavily in this game. And Zach Ertz, I think they are phasing him out of the offense. I do think this is his last season in Philadelphia. They'll be going heavy Goddard moving forward. And I think they're making that pretty clear. They don't want to pay the guy. So
he should just get traded to the Colts.
Yeah, I see slam dunk here for Kelsey.
Vander, let's try one more time.
Kelsey, hit on everything I was going to say.
All right.
Okay.
So now we're on to our flex, and Vander, I'll come to you first. So remember, I said earlier Carson would be down here. So we got Julio Jones and Chris Carson, and we've got Keenan Allen and Michael Gallup. Who are you taking?
I'm going Rhodes. Chris Carson is on fire, and I don't see that slowing down. He's getting used in the passing game this year. His value's way up. I'm going Rhodes.
All right, Bank.
Yeah, I'm going Rhodes as well because I love Drake this week. I mean, anything against Detroit, fire it up. I mean, they let Mitchell Trubisky go off. They let everybody for the Packers go off. Anybody against Detroit, fire up. Julio, I don't think he has that good of a week, especially with him injury ailing. But I don't like anything about Gallup at all in that offense. I mean, he's too boomer bust every single week, and Keenan Allen's probably going to be the same with Herbert. Although I think his value went up major now that Herbert's in there, and I don't think Herbert ever gets out of there. So,
all right, Sean.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Rhodes off the simple fact. I like running back volume over Michael Gallup, and also, even if Julio is out, I think Rhodes just substitute Leonard Fournette, and yeah, we know how that goes.
So I actually like Martin, and I'll tell you why. Keenan Allen against the Colts, or Keenan against the Panthers, sorry, and we saw they didn't. Once the rookie was in, they still slung the ball all over the place. I think another week of practice with Keenan Allen, we're going to see his numbers keep going up. Keenan Allen might be a sneaky buy right now if you can get him somewhere semi-cheap. Julio Jones is banged up. So there's a question, even if he plays, will it be 100% Julio? And, you guys were talking earlier about how Seattle and Dallas is going to be, slinging the ball there for Dak Prescott. Well, some of those targets are going to go to Gallup. And I think he's going to, have a decent amount of catches. So I'm going with Marin.
And I apologize. I forgot that Drake is actually supposed to be swapped with Carson.
Yep.
And if that's the case, I got to switch. I got to switch that because now that, like you mentioned, that factor of because it was all because of Drake against Detroit is the reason I was going with Rhodes.
Gotcha.
But now that that's Carson there, because I don't expect Carson to have a crazy game against Dallas, but or whatnot. But he should have a pretty decent game. So I'm going to actually switch that now. I'm going Rhodes. And like I said, Gallup is so boom or bust. You're right. This is one of the boom games against that Seattle secondary.
So it all comes down to this. We have had a tie vote, except for two. We gave running backs to Rhodes. We gave tight end to Marin. So it's been a tie everywhere else. It all comes down to IDP. I'll go first here. And I really just think in the linebacking core, unfortunately, Marin, at least what she's got starting right now, is with Goodson there. I just don't think Leonard's enough to make up for it. I think that Rhodes wins the game based off of IDP. What about you, Bane?
And I'm not just going to give it away from Marin at that linebacker spot because Goodson he doesn't really have bad games right now. He may not be the best name, but he produces. But I'm with you. I'm going to lean with Rhodes. I'm a huge Blake Martinez guy, and he's a tackling machine. So I could see him going out there getting 40 ball by himself, and I'm going to go with Rhodes.
All right. What about you, guys?
I'm actually going to go with Marin. Jamal Adams comes out and has a big week. Like Bankhead said, Goodson's putting up solid numbers. I think Leonard's going to have a lot of tackles against a shitty team.
All right.
Going Marin.
All right. Sean?
I actually think it's close because Marin, like we all know, she has solid tacklers on that side. But I think the difference is Aaron Donald, just because of the style of Josh Allen. He runs around, scrambles. I think he runs into a couple of sacks, and that really edges that out. Just scrambling into Aaron Donald could just happen. So I think Rhodes end up winning that.
That's why I love Martinez too. He's going against the Niners, and they're going to run the ball 40 times.
They're going to run the ball,
regardless who they have. Wilson, McKinnon, they're going to run the ball, and Martinez
and Landon Collins.
Yeah,
Chubb and Hunt is going to run. Yeah, you see it.
All right, so that gives IDP to Rhodes, and based off what we're hearing and seeing, I'm going to assume we are all together here on our matchup of the week. We're going Rhodes barely wins.
I'm on the Rhodes train.
Me as well. I'm on Rhodes.
And Sean.
Yeah, I'm on Rhodes also.
And that 34 on Thursday night from Robinson is going to be tough to overcome.
Yeah, that probably put a little dent in the chances of winning.
Yeah.
All right, well, that does it for this show. Thank you guys for joining me, and we'll see you guys next time.
All right.